is in somewhat, some social engineering going on here. There's a lot of dots to connect to make that happen. But I'm just giving you a broad example of how
finding the right people to fight at the right time, he monopolized the business. But the problem was, it only made him money and the people he was fighting. It didn't make money for the whole sport. So what he did himself a great job, but it hurt.
To do that, he had a 1-year suspended jail sentence in 2004. And then he was arrested again for a bouncer at a nightclub, getting another 90-day suspended sentence. Then was arrested for up his ex-girlfriend Josie Harris.
Ice Cube spoke out with a critical perspective, taking aim at the system and delivering a powerful message. He suggested that the same powerful forces responsible for financial influence are also tied to the structures of punishment, implying a deeper imbalance in how things operate. From that viewpoint, situations involving high-profile figures like Floyd Mayweather become less about individual cases and more about a broader system at play. His comments weren't just personal criticism. They reflected a wider belief that influence and control often extend beyond what the public sees.
It's the same people who own the labels own the prisons.
Literally the same people?
Literally the same people. It seems really suspicious. The records that come out are really geared to push people towards that prison industry.
Floyd Mayweather Jr.'s widely discussed $42 million real estate move in New York City has recently drawn increased scrutiny. While he claimed to have acquired more than 60 buildings in Upper Manhattan, available property records reportedly do not show a full transfer of ownership from the previous holder, Black Spruce Management. This has led to speculation that his role in the deal may be more limited, possibly involving a partial stake or future purchase options rather than outright ownership. So far, his company, VA Properties, has not publicly clarified the exact structure of the transaction, adding to the uncertainty. The lack of clear details has raised questions about how substantial the investment truly is, with some observers wondering whether it was presented more as a headline-grabbing announcement than a finalized acquisition. Further concerns have been fueled by reports linking one of his business connections to past legal issues, which has brought additional attention to the situation. With many aspects still unclear, the full scope of Mayweather's involvement in the deal remains a topic of debate.
Floyd, I hope the $402 million ain't left his bank account yet, then. I remember Floyd was on a talk show. I think 50 Cent posted that as well. And he said something like, they say, if you know how much money you got, then you don't really got enough money. So they say, if you know how many buildings you got, then you ain't got enough buildings. ¿Cómo? Who told you that? I hope your real estate broker or investor, whoever handles this real estate, I hope they ain't tell you that.
Floyd Mayweather's career outside the ring has also included several legal issues that have drawn public attention over the years. In the early 2000s, he faced multiple misdemeanor battery and domestic-related cases, which resulted in suspended sentences, fines, and court-ordered programs. One of the most notable incidents occurred in 2010, when he was arrested in connection with a domestic dispute involving his ex-partner. This case ultimately led to a short jail sentence, along with community service and mandatory counseling. Beyond personal legal matters, Mayweather has also dealt with regulatory issues. In 2018, he reached a settlement with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission over failing to properly disclose payments he received for promoting certain cryptocurrency projects. Taken together, these incidents have played a role in shaping public perception of him, sparking ongoing conversations about accountability, responsibility, and the challenges that can come with fame and success.
The exception was Floyd Mayweather, who called up Will Smith every day for 10 days straight, with Will Smith saying that the only reason Floyd Mayweather called was just because he wanted to make sure he was okay. And Will Smith said before that he only met Floyd Mayweather a couple times before, calling him an acquaintance, but now would call him a friend for life. I don't think Will Smith should be saying this because Floyd Mayweather was arrested in 2002 for punching 2 women at his nightclub. And due to that, he had a 1-year suspended jail sentence in 2004. And then he was arrested again for assaulting a bouncer at a nightclub, getting another 90-day suspended sentence. Then was arrested for beating up his ex-girlfriend Josie Harris. His son, when he was 10 years old, testified against his father, saying he was assaulting his mother. So Will Smith is not a bad guy, but clearly made a mistake at the Oscars, and it's not a good idea for him to go befriend Floyd Mayweather.
Roy Jones Jr. offered a pointed critique of Floyd Mayweather's influence on boxing, suggesting that his approach shifted the sport's focus more toward financial success than legacy. While acknowledging that Mayweather generated enormous earnings, Jones implied that the benefits were largely concentrated around him and his immediate opponents. From Jones' perspective, this model turned boxing into a business centered on individual profit, rather than elevating the sport as a whole. He expressed concern that younger fighters are now more focused on chasing big paydays instead of striving for greatness inside the ring. In his view, this shift has had a lasting impact on how boxing is approached today, with financial ambition often taking priority over legacy and competitive achievement.
Not because he did a great job, but he did it for himself, and it worked for him. But everybody now wants the Mayweather concept, because Mayweather made so much money, staying undefeated, waiting till the right time to fight Pacquiao, finding the right people to fight at the right time. He monopolized the business. But the problem was, it only made him money and the people he was fighting. It didn't make money for the whole sport. So what he did himself a great job, but it hurt the sport. Because now everybody wants to fight, stay undefeated. You understand me? Me, it's like when two guys get here, they gotta meet. No, wait. They was here 5 years ago. They should have met. You understand me? Because now, we probably could have got 3 good fights out of it. You understand me? But because we waited too long, the problem what people don't understand is, tomorrow's not promised to nobody. Guess what?
Floyd Mayweather Jr. has frequently highlighted his involvement in real estate, often speaking about large-scale property investments and high-profile buildings. In a past interview, he even suggested ownership of a major New York skyscraper, but reports later indicated that his role was more likely a financial stake rather than full control. More recently, he announced a $42 million deal involving dozens of rental properties in Upper Manhattan, claiming full ownership of the portfolio. However, public records have not clearly shown a completed transfer from the previous owner, Black Spruce Management, leading to uncertainty about the exact structure of the deal. These situations have fueled skepticism about the true extent of his real estate holdings. While Mayweather presents these ventures as major personal achievements, the lack of clear details and differences between claims and available records have prompted ongoing questions about how much a portfolio he actually controls.
First investment was real estate, commercial real estate, skyscrapers actually. So what I did was this. It started off with $5 million. Put up $5 million, I was getting $50,000 a month. On every 18th, every month, it was paying off.
You like the cash flow?
Yes, for years. So I said, okay, if it's paying off like this then, and I gave him 7 figures, I said, I'm not gonna even give him 8 figures. I went and gave him 9 figures. If it's something that I know is paying off, lucrative and heavy, I gotta go with it. Roll the dice, take a chance. You only got one life.
Reports from Business Insider suggested that Mayweather's involvement in certain real estate deals may be limited to partial ownership rather than full control, which has led to accusations of exaggeration. As a result, some observers have begun to question the accuracy of his past claims as well. If the $42 million deal wasn't exactly as presented, it raises broader questions about how much of his overall portfolio is fully owned versus partially invested. Floyd Mayweather has long cultivated the Money Mayweather image, consistently showcasing luxury cars, private jets, and high-end properties. His public persona is built around projecting immense wealth and success. However, recent revelations about shared ownership in his New York investments have cast doubt on the extent of his holdings. Some believe these displays are designed to maintain a larger-than-life image and reinforce his brand. While he has framed his investments as both personal success and a way to inspire others, critics argue that the emphasis may be more on appearance than substance. This ongoing pattern has led many to question where the line lies between reality and image, and how much of Mayweather's empire is as it seems versus how much is carefully presented for public perception.
I didn't buy New York, but I feel like everyone should own a piece of the earth. And I feel like you can't go wrong with New York real estate. So what I did was, in one of my portfolios, because I don't know the exact number, because they said if you know how much money you got, you really don't have no money. So if you know how many buildings you got, you don't really have no buildings. So I think I own right now somewhere upwards of 100 buildings or more. And in 99% of my buildings are in New York City.
Wow. You donated millions of money and buildings to victims of the LA wildfires. And I saw that. That was a cool thing you did.
I feel like if you're in a position to give back, why not? We have a great team.
Questions have been raised about Floyd Mayweather's financial image, especially in light of reports involving unpaid luxury purchases and disputes in places like Dubai. Critics argue that if his wealth is as substantial as he claims, situations like these seem difficult to explain. In one reported case from 2021, Mayweather and rapper Tyga were said to have worked with a watch broker to acquire high-end items, including luxury watches and diamond jewelry from a Miami-based jeweler. According to the claims, after initial payments were made, the remaining balance was not settled. This eventually led to a lawsuit filed in August 2024, seeking nearly $4 million and alleging breach of contract and other violations. While these are still claims and part of ongoing legal matters, situations like this have fueled further debate about Mayweather's financial dealings and how they align with the image he presents publicly.
This is how Floyd Mayweather and Tyga might get away without paying $4 million in jewelry. So a lot of wealthy people buy assets or luxury items under business entities. This allows them to pay less tax while also having protection against lawsuits personally. In this case, Tyga and Floyd used a watch broker and some upfront cash to make the deal go through. But as the days passed, no payment was made on the balance that was due, and even their agent admitted they owed $4 million. So what these two did is they signed and paid using a business, and then before paying the full amount, gifted it to themselves on behalf of the business that bought it. Therefore, the broker can't go after Floyd or Tyga because they didn't buy it from them personally. A business that they may control bought it and then gifted it to them, but in this sense is completely separate. But what they did is how the rich get richer. Us in our daily lives have no protection from lawsuits, but as soon as you use a business, the laws completely change. So I'm not saying you should do this or that they'll even get away with this, but it's definitely an interesting way to get expensive jewelry cheaper.
Floyd Mayweather's financial decisions have sparked ongoing debate, especially regarding his dealings with others in the industry. Despite his immense earnings, he has faced public criticism from figures like Logan Paul and 50 Cent, who have alleged unpaid obligations. For many observers, this raises a key question. If his wealth is as vast as claimed, why allow disputes over money to affect his reputation? That concern became more noticeable when Mayweather explained why he chose to face Logan Paul instead of a top-tier boxer like Tyson Fury. His response focused on audience reach, pointing to Logan's massive following. For critics, including voices like Stephen A. Smith, this suggested a shift in priorities, from competition and legacy toward attention and financial opportunity. There was a time when Mayweather stood at the top of the sports world, not only as a dominant boxer, but also as one of the highest paid athletes globally. He was often associated with discipline, strategy, and financial success. However, recent reports and controversies have begun to challenge that image. Questions are now being raised about whether his extravagant lifestyle is supported by solid financial planning or undermined by questionable decisions. As scrutiny increases, the narrative around Mayweather is evolving, turning from one of complete control and success to a more complicated story shaped by both achievement and controversy.
Floyd Mayweather, the highest paid athlete, not the highest paid boxer, the highest paid athlete in the world. I had the opportunity and pleasure to be around him for many years. I was his personal shopper. I was a personal friend of his family. One of my greatest memories of being just lucky enough to even be around that environment was watching him train. Watching Floyd Mayweather train is a masterclass in discipline. It is a masterclass in work ethic. It is a masterclass in this is how you execute and get stuff done. Every rep, he hits it hard. There's not one lazy rep. He does everything at such a high frequency, so elevated. I'm like, goodness gracious, watching this man train, it's like, that's how I want to train for life. I've been to the club with Floyd where we leave in the club 3, 4 in the morning and he's still going to hit his 6 miles. He'll have all the cars follow him and he's running down the Las Vegas Strip, down back streets.
For years, Floyd Mayweather has put his wealth on full display, highlighting extravagant purchases like multi-million-dollar watches, luxury cars, private jets, and high-end properties. His lifestyle has long been seen as a symbol of ultimate success. However, as more details about his financial dealings emerge, those same displays are now being viewed more critically. What once represented achievement is increasingly raising questions about how sustainable that level of spending really is. Some reports and critics suggest that excessive spending and risky investment decisions may be putting pressure on his finances. There are also claims that certain property ownership statements may have been overstated, adding further doubt to the image he presents. Mayweather is often emphasized his independence in both boxing and business, but some believe that operating without strong financial guidance can lead to questionable decisions. If true, it highlights the risks that can come with managing large amounts of wealth without proper planning or oversight.
Who negotiates those deals? Me. Well, you gotta. I'm a little different from every other athlete and entertainer because I keep 100% of the revenue. That's never been done before. I'm my own boss.
There's no manager. There's no agent.
No.
There's no pimp for Floyd.
No.
Wow.
I have a team. And it's a little. I guess I'm lucky.
So you're negotiating that transaction yourself.
Well, exactly. This is how it works. They know my number because I've already before.
Adding to the controversy, Chael Sonnen, former UFC fighter and analyst, shared his own perspective on the Mayweather versus McGregor event. He claimed that the atmosphere inside the arena didn't fully match the massive success portrayed in media coverage. According to Sonnen, there appeared to be noticeable gaps in seating, which he suggested were downplayed to maintain the image of a sold-out spectacle. Speaking from his personal experience at the event, he questioned whether the presentation aligned with the reality on the ground. He also pointed out that, despite the widespread narrative of record-breaking success, certain aspects didn't seem to reflect the level of hype surrounding the fight. For Sonnen, it raised broader questions about how major events are sometimes presented versus what actually happens behind scenes.
So, I mean, it's such two big draws. They promoted it so
it's
well.
All anybody's talking about.
Yeah, there's still a number.
Yeah.
I mean, no matter how big a draw is, there's still a number. If this guy got 100 million, this guy got 100 million, then you got to advertise it, promote it. You got to bring
It's the guarantees that kill everything. If they were just getting percentages, then obviously everybody would.
You're saying the
money.
seats were empty. I can understand it not making the money, but the seats being empty seems
peculiar.
Crazy.
Yeah, and there's nothing in the world where you have a pay-per-view hit that didn't have a live audience hit. Like if your live audience is your first focus group, isn't sold out, you didn't do pay-per-view numbers.
Sure.
But boxing will still claim that to this day. They still to this day claim that that's number one. And if you want to be the biggest pay-per-view in boxing history, all you have to do is claim it.
Floyd Mayweather remains one of the most accomplished figures in boxing history, but his post-retirement years have made him a more debated personality. While his in-ring legacy is undisputed, his activities after leaving professional boxing have drawn criticism, especially his involvement in exhibition bouts and his high-profile spending habits. Since retiring in 2017, Mayweather has taken part in exhibition matches against personalities such as Logan Paul and John Gotti III. Many observers have viewed these events as more entertainment-driven than competitive, with some critics arguing that they lack the intensity and structure of traditional professional fights. Opinions from figures like Oscar de la Hoya have further fueled debate about the nature and purpose of these bouts. These choices have led to ongoing discussions about Mayweather's priorities, whether his focus remains tied to the sport itself or more toward maximizing financial opportunities. Combined with his well-known lifestyle of luxury and visibility, this has contributed to a more complex public perception of his legacy. At the same time, reports and rumors about financial challenges have circulated, including claims of disputes related to unpaid obligations. While unverified in many cases, such stories have intensified scrutiny around his financial management. Overall, Mayweather's post-career journey reflects a mix of continued business activity, public attention, and controversy, leaving many to question how his legacy will ultimately be defined beyond his achievements inside the ring.
Well, in today's news, they're trying to convince the public that Floyd Money Mayweather is broke. All right. Oh, successful boxer. Do you want to know how to be woke? Do you want to know how we think? Well, sit down for a second and let me help you out, okay? This is how we interpret the situation. First of all, why are you telling the public his financial information? Why? What's the reason? Let's start there. Nope, let's put a pin in that, okay? Now, who is he? Floyd Money Mayweather, okay? Successful boxer. 50-0, undefeated. Maybe a little bit more. I don't know. He fought a little bit more after that. But 50-0. Let's just go there. All right? Very successful. Most highly paid boxer ever. Okay?
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned for more. See you next time.